What's going on, everybody? It is your boy Chris, man. We are here at the Work Hard, Play Harder podcast. It is Friday, June 6th, 2025. I am the host and proprietor of this show. My name is Christopher Drummond. I'm a freelance sports reporter based out of Minnesota here. And I bring guests on to talk about their why into their profession and get to know them outside of their occupation. I got a special guest that's going to be coming on with me today. Her name is Debbie Irwin. She has 20 plus years of experience in the voiceover industry. She is a voiceover for the medical field. She's also been a voiceover for sports and different things of that nature. She's also a medical consultant, and she's been in the media space for quite some time. We're going to talk to her about her why of getting into the media space as a voiceover, and we're going to have some fun and ask some get to know you questions. So without any further ado, I introduce to you the wonderful, talented, and the beautiful Debbie Irwin. Good afternoon, Debbie. How we doing?
Well, hello, Christopher. How are you?
I'm doing good. You look absolutely radiant today. Very lovely.
Let me change my audio so it's coming through my speaker so I don't have to put my headphones on. There
I
we
feel you on that. Awesome, awesome. I can hear you loud and clear. Can you hear me loud and clear?
I can hear you loud and clear. Yeah, definitely. I'm going to
Okay.
actually close the door to the booth because then the audio gets even better.
I love it. Well, first off, I want to say thank you for hopping on my podcast, Work Hard, Play Harder. It's a pleasure to be talking to you. Next, I want to ask you, how's your week been going now that I should say the week is ending and we're getting into the weekend?
Uh, I got some bad news today.
Oh,
Just a very short while ago.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, it's nothing like that. It's not a life, as my mom would say, but yeah, our relatively newly renovated bathroom, it was finished 2 years ago, a year or 2 years ago. The whole floor of the shower and the shower, everything has to be taken up because there's a leak and
Oh,
it's
wow.
and it's bad. Yeah, and it's bad.
I got you.
So so I just feel really down.
I
Uh,
totally understand that. I didn't mean it for it to be a loaded question. I really did, but
well, you asked, I could have given you, oh, fine,
right. But I love the realness. I love the transparency. I love the realness. Thank you for that. I really do. And I really hope that you get that fixed ASAP as soon as possible.
Right,
It only takes one thing for something to go wrong, and then, the whole cog of the machine is messed up. So yeah, I
right,
totally
right.
understand that.
And how about
Um,
you? Are you okay? Is your health okay?
it's better now. It's better now. Late February, I got sick. I just came back from the Super Bowl covering that. I mean, Debbie, I was having a really great start to the year 2025. Then I got sick. I had a wound, a septic wound, on my backside. And then they also found out I was a diabetic. So that made things a lot worse. So I had to spend about 12 weeks in the hospital.
Oh,
And yeah, I almost died. I did. Yeah, it was touch and go. It really was. Obviously, my mom dropped everything, came to the hospital because I'm out here in Minnesota. So my mother's in Georgia, and my dad is in New York. So I'm out here doing my grown man thing, and um, it came out of nowhere. It really did. But um, the
are you
best
in
thing that
Minneapolis?
I'm in Minneapolis now.
Hmm.
The best thing about this now is that I've lost 50 pounds. I'm much healthier now. I'm watching my diet even more than I was. And any kind of wound or cuts that I have, I'm paying attention to that much more because as a diabetic, I was informed that you got to. So, yeah, and I appreciate your patience. I appreciate your patience. I want to say that and get that out to the open. I was like I said, wasn't really in a good shape, but now I am. I'm much better, and I'm back to doing podcasts and taking it slow at work. And
Hmm.
slowly but surely, I'm gonna get back to being 100%.
Well, congratulations. And, I can't begin to imagine, everything you've been through. Um, you
Mm,
know, um, and thank God you're here.
yeah, tell me about it.
And,
Yeah,
there are always silver linings, being down 50 pounds, is awesome. And I'm sure you probably have some fresh thoughts about what's important in this world
no
to you.
question, no question. I've been out here in Minneapolis before I get started with the questions. Been out here in Minneapolis for about 3.5 years. And when my mother came and saw me from Georgia, she dropped everything, as a mother would do for her children, right?
Right.
And I knew from that point on, I was like, I got to be closer to family. I got to be closer to some family, to whether it's a drive away, whether it's in the same town. I got to be in the vicinity of someone, whether it's my mother or my father, because they're both getting older, and I don't
Hmm.
want to get that call to where I'm so far away that something has happened. So, yeah, it definitely put things into perspective. How much I love them and miss them and want them to be around and need to be around them. So, definitely this year, I made a decision in a couple months. I'm actually coming to New York because my dad is there. So I'm coming to New York and I'm going to be living there. And I'll be at least around my dad. And some kind of family, and my mom is just a straight shot down south. So
Hmm.
yes, so definitely being surrounded by family is something that I had to really put into perspective.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank goodness you have a loving mom and dad uh, as a support system for you.
I'm very lucky and very blessed. I don't take that for granted at all. And yes, absolutely, Debbie, no question. I want to
You
reiterate
lived in New
things.
York before?
I have. I should say this. I spent summers there in New York. Now, I know you're in Hillsdale, if I'm not mistaken, Hillsdale, New York.
Yeah.
My dad's in upstate though. Are you in upstate or is that in the central kind of part of New York?
So it's fun. It depends on who you ask.
Mhm.
So I'm 2 hours north of the George Washington Bridge. I'm
Okay.
an hour south of Albany. I was on
Mm.
a call earlier today with somebody who's in Buffalo. So if you're in Buffalo, then like where I am is downstate. If you're in the city, where I am is upstate. So, um, it's really all relative. So where's your dad?
He's about an hour and 15 from Buffalo. So
From Buffalo.
close to the upstate Rochester area.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Yeah, Rochester, New York.
Got it.
So yeah, absolutely. So I would say you're downstate then. You're downstate
Yes,
there.
I am downstate. I'm
That's
downstate. And I
awesome.
also am sometimes truly downstate and downtown downstate. Very close to ground zero. So, yeah.
Wow. Okay. That's awesome. That's awesome to hear, Debbie. It really is. I wanted to have you on this podcast because of your years of experience being a voiceover. It's a different kind of position being in the media, but you're in your booth where you probably conduct obviously a lot of your work. I'm a journalist, freelance journalist, so I write articles, I take photos, I do things of that nature. So we're both in a media space to where we have to use our voices, we have to be able to be on screen and stuff like that. I went and I love talking to different voiceover people. I really do because they very interesting job, but everybody's path and journey has been different to getting to this position. And what intrigued me about you was the fact that you've had 2 decades plus in it and that you are in the medical space, but you've also done different genres as well. And I want
Hmm.
to hear your story because I don't know if you always wanted to start out as a voiceover or something like that. You know what I mean? Because if I'm not mistaken, you went to school for sciences, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, my degree is in semiotics, but um, you
Right.
know, um, I went to school for a good um undergraduate liberal arts education.
Right.
That was my intention. I was doing theater from the time I was a kid,
Oh,
and that was my passion. And I really I finished high school after 3 years, and I wanted to go to London. I grew up in Chicago. I wanted to go to
mm,
London and study theater, and my parents were like, "Yeah, not so fast. Get yourself a good, solid education, and then you can go do whatever you want."
right.
So I went to the University of Chicago for 1 year, and then transferred to Brown,
Brown. Yep.
uh, and did shows there, took theater classes, but didn't major in theater. And while I was at school, I started to shift my focus a little bit towards radio and TV, thinking that
Okay.
that was perhaps an easier path to take professionally than to be a stage actress. And while I was there, I worked at the network affiliates in Rhode Island, the ABC and NBC network affiliates. I was a floor director one summer. I had my own, the 3, 2, 1, on air. I had my own women's public affairs radio show, and I did an internship in the news department at one of the stations. And when I graduated,
Hmm.
one night, after the news was over, um, my buddies, I make friends with the people in the control room, right? I mean, the folks
Absolutely.
who are the talent, the stars, they had nothing to do with me, right? But, my peeps were in the back.
Right.
So they let me get on the set. They rolled back the teleprompter.
Mhm.
I got dressed up and the makeup and everything, and I created an audition tape, right, for reading the news.
Absolutely.
So, mind you, this is a long time ago. It was on 3/4 inch tape, literally. And so I sent it off to a station in the South. I don't even remember where, thinking probably not a lot of competition down there. Heard crickets and realized, first of all, massive sample, right, of one, maybe two, who knows if I can't quite
Right.
remember. And I said, of
Right.
course they're not going to be interested in me. I need a journalism degree. So, and I thought about, going up to Boston and getting a journalism degree. And I was like, I'm so tired of school. No, I really don't want. And then I also realized, and this is, again, a long time ago, I graduated in 79. I I really don't care about the news. I just want to be in front of the camera. And that was
Mm,
my aha moment. And it was not so much being on camera, but rather performing. And so that was the motivation that made me realize I have to go to New York and pursue this dream that I've always had of being an actress. And if it doesn't work out, what better place to be than New York to find something else, right?
you're right.
And
Absolutely.
let me do it while I'm young and unencumbered instead of waiting and then waking up one morning when I'm 40 and saying, I can't do it now. I've got kids and this and that and so on. So I moved to New York to pursue that dream and struggled like every other 20 something with the cattle calls and all the rest.
Sure.
I by day, by night, I worked as a bartender at the Electric Circus. I love to dance.
Okay, now. I like that.
And after a couple of years of that, I'm like, okay, I got it out of my system. It's not going to happen, but I got it out of my system. Now I'm ready for some structure in my life and a real job, right? Not just being a
Hmm.
bartender. So I went to work at the Guggenheim Museum doing PR and special events and loved being around the art. Um, and after a few years of that, and recognizing too that PR was not like, passion that I had to continue doing, you know, if you are working in a nonprofit, in the nonprofit sector, you have to
Right.
be in New York anyhow, independently wealthy or married to someone who is. And I was neither. So I wanted a real job that paid real money,
Real money.
real
Right.
money. Right. And a job where the salary was going to be commensurate with my efforts because I'm a hard worker. And so I went to Wall Street and became a stockbroker.
Did you? Wow.
I did. I did. And I had a great career there for 5 years. And then I started having babies. So I like to say that I left Wall Street for Sesame Street when I became a full-time mom.
Right.
And it wasn't until uh, 13 years later or so that I was thinking about, all right, what am I going to do again at some
Right.
point? And
How to reinvent yourself.
right. And I thought, well, do I go back to Wall Street? I was like, no, I don't want to build a book business. I do not want to be a stockbroker again. Then I thought, well, maybe I could be a broker to the brokers. Maybe that would be a little bit easier. And I'm like, no, I'm not free, 9 to 5. I'm still picking my kids up at, 3 o'clock and shuffling one here and there and all the rest. So I got the NYU School of Continuing Education booklet back when they
Okay.
printed these things. It was nice and fat. And
Sure.
also the Learning Annex, which in New York City was a resource for finding just courses on whatever. You could take a class in whatever. So it's kind of like being a kid in a candy shop in that you could just sort of flip through and see, oh, this idea, that idea, this idea, that idea. And then I saw something for, oh, well, but prior to this, actually, I
Uh-huh.
did have the thought that what's the one thing that I've always loved? And it was theater, right? But I'm like, I'm not available nights and weekends. That's not going to work for me either. So
Right.
fast forward to flipping through, and I found a class in voiceover. And I really didn't know what it was, but I was intrigued and I took the class. And within the first 5 minutes, standing up and with a script in my hand, I was like, Eureka! I found it. So I like to say that I'm living the dream that I came to New York for. I just didn't know it was going to look like this. And the wheel came full circle. But, in time, you don't stay on the same plane, right? With all of your experiences, you grow and learn and evolve and so on.
Yes,
So
you
it
do.
came full circle, but I'm a completely different person. And all of those other things helped me to be successful as a voice actor. Interestingly, and perhaps ironically, my time on Wall Street probably helped me the most because, in fact, I did have to build a book of business, but it was a business that I was passionate about building for myself. And that
Absolutely.
is, and that is what I'm doing.
I love that. I love to hear that. I really do. As a bartender, what was your favorite drink to make?
Ooh, ooh, hmm. Well, the thought that comes to mind is the Long Island iced tea, only because it was like this, that, the other thing, this,
Mm,
that, the other thing, this, that, and the other thing, probably a half a dozen different liquors in there. Um, but uh, yeah, that's my memories of those days have less to do with the drinks and a heck of a lot more to do with the people. The DJ was Jelly Bean Benitez, who worked with Madonna, in her
oh,
early ages.
yeah.
And it was a massive space, 3 floors. The top floor was VIP, the main floor, and then downstairs they had like mud wrestling and rock and roll, and it was wild.
It
It was
sounds
fun.
wild.
It
I
was
love that. I
it, it
love that.
was it was fun. It really was. It really was
Okay.
fun.
Now, when you do voiceovers, another favorite question, because we're going to start getting to some favorite questions. Uh, Favorite voiceover to do. There's different kind of genres, right? There's
Right.
serious, there's comedy. You do medical. I heard one that you did with the Minnesota Vikings. That was
Yeah.
that was pretty interesting, right? So tell me, what is your favorite voiceover to do and why?
Um, I don't think I have one favorite, and I
Okay.
think the reason why is because I love acting, and so, you know, there's just a wide range of people and voices that I can be. I am often hired to be a British bitch queen. Why? I don't know, but yeah, that happens.
Interesting.
I love doing museum audio tours because I'm interested in in the content, right? I really appreciate and like to learn and get into, sort of inhabit that space.
Absolutely.
Um, the medical work that I do is also quite varied. It can be anything from a medical commercial. We see those pharma spots on TV all the time, or it
Hmm.
can be a training video or a medical device video, or gosh, an explainer video, or just there's a whole, or even voice of God um, for an annual benefit for a hospital, right?
Okay. Okay.
So it's a broad range, and I coach in this area and have been since the beginning of COVID, and that has been a source of tremendous pleasure for me and growth for me and pride in working with people that I get to work with and help. So that's
I
been
love it.
kind of a an evolution that I didn't think about or envision happening.
Absolutely. Absolutely. More favorite questions. And this one is favorite meal you like to cook.
Oh, well, I was going to say favorite meal. Well, chocolate for breakfast. Um, uh, you know, um, I've done a lot of cooking in over the years, and
Uh-huh.
yeah, well, full-time mom, that's what you do. And I have three kids, right? So,
Absolutely.
and I like to entertain, and so cooking, baking, etc. Uh, However, I'm fortunate that my husband has become a really good cook, and I don't really have to do too much cooking now because he is so into it. He's loving it. So yeah, I
Okay.
mean,
What's your favorite meal to eat?
well, chocolate.
Ooh, so you like, are we talking chocolate like Butterfingers, Reese Pieces, Kit
Oh,
Kat?
Reese's. Oh, yeah, Reese's is good. Yeah, yeah. I like to have like cookies and with my coffee in the morning. That's not good. Chocolate mint is my favorite ice cream.
Okay.
Sometimes I think if I had to pick one herb, would it be basil or cilantro? And I haven't quite figured out which it would be because I love
Yeah.
them both.
Yeah.
Um,
They're both pretty good.
you
Both pretty
know,
good.
uh, yeah, I'm not a, I'm an eclectic person. I think my tastes are eclectic. I love a broad range of cuisines and
Okay.
music, and I love to travel. So,
Yeah,
um,
me too. Me too. No
right?
question. Yes, absolutely. No question. I was gonna follow that up by asking you, what is your favorite concert that you've ever attended?
Concert. Wow. Wow.
I like it. It's making you think. I like it.
So when I was yay big, I saw four little dots in the center of Wrigley Field in Chicago, and they were the Beatles, and all I heard was screaming. So I have that memory. Um, I was just at the Philharmonic last week at a concert with Gustavo Dudamel. He's the conductor, and he's brilliant. And watching him
Okay.
work and see the relationship that he has with the orchestra was awesome. So there was an amazing piece of music that we heard that night. Um,
That,
I'm up near
that
Tanglewood. What's that?
I said that is two ends of the spectrum. When you talk about the Beatles and Gustavo, now I
Yeah,
like that. I like that though.
yeah. And then I'm up near Tanglewood, so that's been, gosh, James Taylor and Earth, Wind and Fire and
Mhm.
gosh, Brandy Carlisle I heard once. Who else? When I was in high school, I won tickets on the radio, call in if you're caller number blah blah blah,
Oh yeah.
you win two tickets to an Elton John concert. And I wasn't particularly a fan of Elton John, but I didn't care. So
Right.
uh,
Right.
so I went. That was all I remember is winning the tickets. I don't really remember going to the concert, but I know I'm forgetting something important. Um,
Well, those are some pretty good hitters. My just for disclaimer, I should say my mother and father was both born and raised in Chicago. Uh,
okay.
yeah, so they were both born. Yeah, right. My dad on the
Where?
south side, my mother on the west side.
Okay. Well, I'm a
So
South Side girl myself.
yes, so and I was born in Cook County
Oh,
Hospital.
okay. All
So
right.
yes, I wasn't raised in Chicago because we left Chicago to go to San Diego because my dad was in the Navy. Um, but I was born there, still have family there. Um, my plan is to come there next month. They're actually having a journalism convention where they put all the journalists together in Chicago. It's downtown Chicago at the Marriott. So
Mm-hmm.
I plan on going there for that. Last year, I went to Chicago for the NABJ, if you're familiar with that, um, which is the National Association of Black Journalists.
Uh-huh.
They had
Okay.
they had it in Chicago last year. So very fond of that city. Love my deep dish pizza. They can't make it anywhere but Chicago is where I eat it. So that's for sure. Let me ask you this: favorite place since you talked about traveling. Favorite place you ever traveled to?
Well, again, um, I had some incredible experiences in Iceland.
Wow.
I
Okay.
saw the Northern Lights and a display that was like kind I mean, I've never taken acid, so I can't really say for sure, but I imagine, just the colors and the dancing in the sky. It was just surreal. It was amazing. And then there was another experience while we were there where we're out on a glacier and you get out of your truck or whatever that has these wheels that are like, I don't know, 12, I don't know how big, 5 feet or whatever, and
Mm.
suspension, the whole bit. And all you see is just soft white, right? And the longer you look, the more you see. And you start to see gradations. You start to see grays. You start to see ever so slightly, you struggle to see, is there a horizon there? And it was
Mm.
like being truly on another planet. And that was phew, really
Mind blowing.
mind blowing, right?
Okay.
Um, I remember being at the easternmost tip of any piece of land um, into the Atlantic. I don't know if I was down in one of the islands, and it was just one of these, with the surf crashing. It was like um, a religious spot, right?
Okay.
So
Okay.
nature. And then Italy. I spent a lot of time in Italy. I lived there as a kid with my family.
That is a
So
bucket list item for me. I've not been there. I want to go there though, for sure.
definitely. And speaking of bucket lists, I was just in Machu Picchu in April, and that was incredible too. So
Okay.
yeah,
I
there's a
love
lot
that.
there's a lot of beauty in the world. And if we can cut out some of the ugly noise, you know,
Yeah, tell me about that. I know that's right. Jamaica was mine for sure. When I went to Jamaica, went there on a cruise last year with family. That was great. That was
love
amazing.
Jamaica.
Just got my passport last year, so I'm looking to do some traveling once I get back 100%. Which I'm hoping to go to Europe,
Hmm.
South America. That'd be great too, and visit some exotic places as well. So I love that. Couple more of the favors before I get into the next question, and this one's a sports one. Now I'm a sports person, so that's why I got to ask you this, Debbie. Favorite sports, um, favorite sports to watch on TV, I should say, and favorite sports to attend in person.
Well, um, so Professional?
Sure, it could be professional or collegiate.
So, I'd never been to a football game before last
What?
December when
Oh, oh.
my peeps at the Minnesota Vikings set me up, with 4 tickets to attend the game and hear my work in
Okay.
situ, right? That was mind blowing. It didn't have, and they're my favorite team. I didn't have a I didn't have a favorite team before, and now I'm diehard Minnesota Vikings.
Okay.
I've gone to tennis matches live, and that's fun. I've been to a bunch of college basketball, Big East tournaments, and then watching my 9-year-old grandson play basket hoops and soccer, whatever. That's a source of great pleasure for me as
Sure.
well.
Sure. Absolutely. I mean, obviously, growing up in Chicago, Big East is big over there. No question about that. And then great to hear that you went to the Minnesota Vikings game. I'm a huge football person, love football.
Did you get to
Um,
any of the games last year?
yes, I went to one. Um, I went to the one where they played, I believe they played Houston. They played Houston. So yes, I typically go to one per year, wherever city I'm in. But
Hmm.
now, obviously, when I head to New York, I'll be near the Buffalo Bills. So I'm definitely going to be planning on going to at least a Bills game for sure. I try to get out there to that for sure because I'm like I said, I'm a huge sports guy. So every sport, including male and female sports, because I like to
Right.
compete with both. And I have bucket list items because you're in New York where they do the U.S. Open for
Yes.
tennis,
Yes.
and that's something that I want to do. I've been to a tennis match before. It's really different, and I love to go to the majors like
Right.
Wimbledon, French Open, U.S. Open. That's what I would love to do. So yeah, that's on the bucket list for sure.
Definitely. So the time that you were there for the Vikings game, you heard me. You just didn't know you were hearing me.
I did not. I did not. I was like, wow, okay. Because when I saw, I looked on, I try to do a little bit of research on every person I talked to, but when I saw it on YouTube, I'm like, that's Debbie? I was like, wait a minute, I remember that video. They played that video on the Jumbotron. I
Right
remember that.
on.
So I was like, okay, that's pretty
Yeah.
cool. That's pretty awesome. Last of the favorites, which is favorite restaurant there in New York, because I love traveling in different places. New York City, I've been to before, very busy. No question about it. It's a bumper to bumper kind of place. Central New York, been there too. What is your favorite restaurant to eat at?
Uh, it depends on what I'm in the mood for.
Okay.
There is a very beautiful place that's just really special in terms of the decor and the environment.
Hmm.
It's the top floor of the RH building, which used to be Restoration Hardware, but they rebranded. They're just RH. It's over in the meatpacking district. And it's like all glass and chandeliers, and it's just airy and beautiful. And, it almost doesn't matter what you're eating. I don't know that I've had, I don't just the atmosphere is really special. So that place just popped into my mind.
Okay.
Um,
Cool.
Gosh, over the years, we would go to East 6th Street, which was Indian Row. And, the joke was it didn't matter which restaurant you went into on East 6th Street, that they all shared one kitchen and they just ran back and forth, the waiters, with bringing the food to whatever restaurant.
Right.
Lots of fond memories there.
Okay.
Um,
I'm a huge steak person. So when I come out there, I love me a steak that's medium rare. So where should I go the next time I'm out there near the city of New York? Where should I go?
well, there are a few places. I don't know if the Palm still exists, and Peter Luger's is very, very popular.
Okay.
Um, um, yeah, let me do a little research and I'll tell you. There are a few others.
No question. We would definitely keep in touch. So please let me know. Now I gotta ask every New York person this that I ever have on this platform on my podcast, and that is about the street meat. Have you ever had the street meat?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Is it overrated?
Well, just thinking about it now, I'm kind of, my mouth is sort of watering. Now, I never ate the dirty dogs, right? I'm not a dirty dog girl, but
Right.
the gyros, with the white sauce and everything. Yeah, yeah, that was pretty good. Yeah, pretty
Okay.
good. You can get some good and coffee. Don't give me any Starbucks. Let me buy my dollar coffee from the cart on the corner. That's what I'm about.
I love that. Okay. I have not tried the street meat in my times being in New York City. My first time ever being in New York City, I actually got off the mega bus. I don't know if you're familiar with that,
Yeah,
but
yeah, sure, yeah.
got off the mega bus, and then when I got there, it was two something in the morning, and there was a brother talking about, "Do you want some street meat?" And mind you, Debbie, I'm coming from San Diego, Atlanta, Chicago. Those are the three major cities I've lived in prior to moving here to Minnesota. And I never heard about no damn street meat. I'm like, brother, what is you talking about? Like, hold on, it ain't that kind of party. It's two something in the morning, and you talking about street meat. It ain't that ain't that kind of party. I'm thinking in my mind, but he's like, no. I'm like, you don't even got no pots and pans back there. What you cooking with? And I was like, I'm good. No street meat. Just let me get a Sprite because I was thirsty. So I said, let me get a Sprite. And then that's what I got. So now that you solidified that, next time I go to New York City, I will definitely try some street meat. And you said I got to get the white sauce.
Yeah, well, I like the white sauce. It's sort of a yogurt sauce on the gyro, but I guess you could also do the hot sauce on it, and or a
Okay.
combination of the two. And
Okay.
with the onions and the tomato and the lettuce, and yeah, yeah, it's
Okay.
it's
Say
been a
no
long
more.
time since I've had one. So
Say no more. Yeah, I know. I'm bringing you back. It seems like I'm bringing you back to memories.
totally. And I would say don't bother with the pretzels because the pretzels are usually stale. Yeah, don't bother eating those
Okay.
funky
I will
pretzels.
not. I appreciate that 411. I really do. Let's get into your day-to-day operations. As a voiceover, you probably get scripts
Yep.
on a daily, weekly, all the time. How do you decipher which script is for you or which script isn't for you? How many hours do you spend in that booth? I imagine you have to spend a lot of time in that booth. Uh, you know. So tell me about your day-to-day operations. When do you wake up normally start? When do you end? When do you say, you know what, I got to take a day off because I got to be there for my kids and stuff like that? Tell me about your day-to-day operations.
All right. Well, you're touching a nerve, my friend, because I have a hard time setting boundaries for myself, saying I'm only going to do this or I'm going to stop at this point,
Right,
because when you have your own business and you're passionate about what you do, you're living it, breathing it, thinking about it all the time, right? There's
right,
always more to do. My family over the years have complained to me that I'm uh, that
working
I'm
too much.
that, yeah, right, working too much. And I will say that when I do finally unplug and go away, I'm on vacation or whatever, or now that the weather's nice and I'm out in the garden, it is it is a source of great pleasure to be with family or with friends or just doing things that aren't necessarily work, right?
Work.
It's
Yeah,
not the
absolutely.
only place where that feeds my soul, but a lot happens here that feeds my soul. Um, so I get up whenever I want to get up, and unless I've got a session with somebody in England, in which case I got to get up early because of the 5 hour time difference,
Right.
and to warm up my voice and just get ready because my voice in the morning is a little bit deeper than it is right now. So if you want that deep, sexy voice and you hire me, we book the session in the morning.
Okay.
Um,
Keep that. I got it locked and loaded. Keep that in mind.
um, then I have my cookies, right? And milk or coffee, like I told
Coffee.
you.
Yeah,
Yeah, right,
yeah,
right. But
cookies and coffee.
this dang thing is like one of the first things that I interact with after the toilet. To see, any messages, any emails, any clients, any, stuff like
Absolutely.
that. Throughout the day, I'll get auditions from agents and from rosters that I'm on. And if most of the time, if they're sending me something, it's because they think that I'm suited for it. Sometimes they just do a wide net, and it's
Sure.
incumbent on you to say, gee, do I fit these specs or no?
Right.
They're looking for an African American male. Okay, well, that's not me. Next. Um, and I have an assistant who's in Venezuela, and she helps me with my social media and my materials for the website and coaching and classes that I teach and all the rest. So,
Mm.
yeah, I've got
Very busy woman. I like that.
yeah, 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 I like it
Yeah.
too.
Yeah. That's awesome. No, that's amazing. I wanted to follow up because when I talk, sorry, to different voiceover people that's in the industry, some of them, it took them a while to get an agent. They pay for the classes, and they would get a lot of work. And a lot of people want to get into the industry, but they don't want to, output the money for to get into the industry because they're very hesitant about that. Tell me, how long did it take for you to get an agent? And tell me, was there ever any hesitation as far as paying for the classes and stuff like that to be in this type of industry?
For me, no, there was never any hesitation. As
Okay.
it really is. When I had that script in my hand, it was a
Mhm.
eureka moment. I'm like, okay, this is it. So it took a while. I didn't, I had everything to learn, right?
Mhm.
And I took my time. I started training. And I think I trained for at least a year before I created a demo. People are very anxious to just sort of go out there and try and book work, but it's unrealistic. It's a profession, and there's so much to learn around being a professional, the
Right.
art of the business of the business. You have to learn software, how to record yourself, how to edit yourself. Your ears are a muscle, and it takes time to develop them so that you can hear what it is that you're doing. Because in the beginning, you don't know what you don't know, and you can't hear what you don't know either. So, it's a slow, flat curve until things start to, you know,
Go up.
go up, right? And I tell people who come to me, I said it's a marathon. It's definitely not a sprint. And you have to. I mean, I can understand people who are sort of like, maybe I don't know, and there, you're in this sort of catch-22 of, well, I don't know if it's right for me, so I don't want to invest too much money, but you have to stick your toes in the water in order to see how it
The
feels. So you
temperature.
have,
Yeah.
what, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
No question.
so it costs money, time, patience, perseverance. Um, you have to do a tremendous amount of research. Lots of resources are available online. Um, and you have to really want it because it's not easy. And
Mm.
it's so many people think, how hard could it be? I've been talking since I was 2, right? But it's not about just talking. B, it doesn't matter if everybody has said, you have a great voice, you should do voiceover. It's not about having a great voice. It's about what you do with your voice and storytelling, no matter the kind of script that it is. So,
Absolutely.
yeah, I forget what I was
I
saying.
love that. I love that. I really do. And it ties into these next two questions that I wanted to get to. And that one of them is about mental health and work-life balance. Now, we kind of touched upon it. You said that, hey, you're starting a business, and when you start a business, it's always on your mind, right? You're always trying to progress it, you're always trying to grow it. And when
Mhm.
you're pretty much independent working for yourself, you're trying to generate as much revenue as you possibly can,
Right.
obviously, right? But at times, and the different kind of voiceover actors and actresses I've talked to, mental health has really sometimes have affected them, and they've affected them a lot with their families. Because this time spent away from them, they miss out on things,
Hmm.
and then sometimes they miss out on certain projects because different things are happening. Talk to me about how do you keep your mental health strong, but also try to have that work life balance stable enough to where you're not going crazy.
So, well, having other interests, right,
Hmm.
um, is important. Other places and people that feed your soul, that make you happy, right?
Yeah.
Um, Many voice actors talk about this being a lonely profession because we
Yeah.
are, you know, pre-COVID, if you were on one of the coasts, oftentimes you went into studios, so you were there interacting with people live. Pre-COVID, even 80% of the work that I did was in my own studio,
Okay.
with clients all around the world. Now it's 100%. I mean, since COVID, there was one time that I went into a studio in the city to, to record something.
Right.
It's not necessary. I've got broadcast quality here and I can connect to any studio anywhere in the world, right?
Mhm.
And can be directed live just like this. So many people talk about the loneliness, and but I don't find it lonely because because I have colleagues and clients that I'm often interacting with. So, yeah, having a supportive community, I think, is important, and the voiceover community in general is very supportive.
Yeah.
Um, you know, Unlike other areas where maybe there's more competition. And I'm on the board of directors of WOVO, which is World Voices, and we are, an organization peer to peer, to support people and for education and, um, community. So that's just one of a number, and I've got my accountability buddy, and I've got, stand-up groups and mastermind groups. So there are people who, I'm in touch with so that if I have a question or a problem, or they have a question or a problem, and we don't just talk about business, we'll also talk about other things that are happening in our lives. Somebody's got
Sure.
cancer, somebody's got this, a loss of a parent, whatever. Um, so having good people in your life, is super helpful.
Yeah, it's paramount, right? I mean, that's with any profession, but especially voiceovers, because like you said, the majority of the work you do is in your home, right? You don't get to go, you don't go to studios, you don't need to because everything you can do is right there, right? You say
Hmm.
you're a mom, you're a wife. If something were to happen to your family, or something were to happen, God forbid, I'm not saying that, but just God forbid something were to happen, you got to alter, right? And you got to have an outlet more so than your family for somebody to talk to.
Hmm.
A lot of people that I have had voiceover conversations on this podcast before, they've talked about therapy, talk
Oh
about
yeah.
going to therapy.
Well,
Um,
yeah.
and I love that.
Therapy here. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
I'm the
Awesome.
daughter
Awesome.
of a family therapist. So for me, therapy was like, it's like eating and breathing and therapy.
I love that. I love
Yeah,
it.
I never grew up with any stigma around therapy. It's, not all therapists are good. Finding the right one, finding good help is super important.
Yeah,
Um, yeah.
absolutely. I want to ask this question now, and that is advice. What is some advice that you would give? You're a coach. You're a coach now for people that wants to come to you and be in this industry. What kind of advice do you give them about wanting to start a voiceover career?
Well, I'm honest with them. and uh, realistic. I don't sugarcoat things.
Okay.
Um, I let them know how uh, there's an image that I share with people. In fact, maybe you'll let me share it with you.
Okay.
Uh, hold on a second.
That's cool. Yeah, please share
Do you
with
know
me.
what a petty bus is?
I do know what a petty bus is. Yes.
Okay, well then, I mean, I can. Many people only realize it once they see the picture, but you know. So I'll just do the share. I'll just do the share. There we
That's
go.
awesome. Oh,
Right.
that is awesome. Yes.
So, to my mind, this is a great metaphor for how you have to build your business. You're sitting on, at different times, all of these different seats, right?
Right.
And the wheels are moving in one direction, but they help move the entire chassis forward, right? Now, you can't necessarily do all of the things that you need to do at the same time. Be the talent, be the director, be the editor, take
Hmm.
care of IT, take care of sales, take care of accounting, take care of your website and your social media, okay? And that's, I'm sure I'm leaving some things off. But there are many things that can happen concomitantly, right? At the same time. And training, right? That was probably one of the most important ones. So I use this as an example of what it takes for a person to build a business. And, each of these seats represents a different hat that you have to wear. Um, so,
I like that. I like that metaphor. I really do. And it's pivotal, right? It's pivotal in this case because, like you talked about, people don't know what they don't know. The only way you're going to be able to learn is to talk to people with experience and then also experience it yourself. It's the same field with journalism. When people ask me what does it take to be a journalist, you got to write. You got to be able to write, but you also got to find out what do you want to do as far as genres. Do you want to do news? Do you want to do entertainment? Do you want to do sports? If you pick one of those genres, then seek out people in that genre and talk to them, shadow them. Because, like you said, you can't do all the things at the same time, but eventually you will hit all those seats if
right,
you continue to learn.
right,
So I love that metaphor. I really do, and I think it's important for people that do want to be in the industry to listen to what you're saying, and it's a question worth asking because all people see is the finished product. They don't see you in your booth when you're editing. They don't see when you're when you're struggling to get that voice when you're doing voice warm ups. All they see is the Minnesota Vikings
right.
and what you're reading, right? So I think that that's why it's imperative to have podcasts like this to be able to talk about not just who you are, but what you do and what it takes to do what you do. Which brought me up a nice. This is a bonus question, and that is, since you've done so many different voiceovers, what is a voiceover that you haven't done that you would like to pursue?
So, um,
Hmm.
I guess it's called in-show narration, um, but it's kind of documentary style. But I've done documentaries, and they've aired on TV and whatnot. Um,
Have you done animation?
I've done some animation. Yes, I have. I have
Okay.
done some animation. Heroes of the City is a kids series, and I voiced some characters in that. And I've also done a number um, of trailers for video games.
Okay. Okay.
And that involves different character work. Um, so just yesterday, I was talking with a colleague of mine, and she was asking me for some advice on medical narration. And
Hmm.
when I went to her website, I saw that she had an audio description um, demo. So I'm like, you know, I didn't know you do this. Tell me more. So audio description has become a thing now, and it's for, ADA compliant so that if people can't um, um,
See it?
right, right. If people
Okay.
can't see it, exactly,
Right.
then it's a description of what's happening on screen. And she said that it used to be very dry, but it's no longer dry. You're really intended to be part of what's happening. So that sort of intrigued me. I mean, I'm not really interested in uh, making a grand effort to pursue um, a whole new field,
Okay. Okay.
um, because I'm pretty busy where I am.
Yeah.
However, to me, it's interesting to learn about something new, right? And
Absolutely. You
you
never
know,
stop learning. Never stop learning. Yeah.
right.
Okay. Now, this might be, you might say both on this one, but which one gives you more joy? Because the way that you talk, it seems like both of them really gives you joy. Would you rather be working on a project, or would you rather be teaching a client? So teaching or actually being the actor or the voiceover person, which one gives you more joy?
Uh, they're such different things. It's like apples and oranges, you
Hmm.
know. Um, when I'm the performer, it feeds something deep in my soul,
Okay.
and and when I'm teaching,
Mm,
it's when I'm teaching, there's gratification that comes into my soul, but it's more cerebral. It's more, let me think about how I can help this person.
mhm.
And not everybody learns the same way, of course,
Right.
right? And not
Absolutely.
everybody has the same challenges. So figuring out a way to help somebody get over a hump, right? Let's say they're always inflecting down at the end of every sentence. They're doing the same thing and they don't really realize that at the end of every sentence they're inflecting down, right?
Right.
So it's like hearing what it is that they're doing, pointing it out to them, getting them to a place to be able to hear what it is that they're doing, right, for themselves. Because all of my all of my coaching is like what my mom used to say about therapy. My goal is to get you out of here so that you don't need me and you can
Right.
stick your landing on your own. Yeah, if you spend some time with me, you'll probably have my voice in your head a little bit here or there, and that's okay. um, uh,
Hmm.
yeah, and I've gotten such beautiful feedback from my students, probably
Sure.
more so than my clients, and that feeds my soul very deeply,
I
something that
love
I
it.
didn't know, you know.
Yeah, no, I love that. I really do. We talked about advice earlier that you would give, but what is some advice that someone has gave you that you hold on dearly to?
Woo! Um, you are enough.
Mm, yeah,
Um, let it go. Now, I'm not saying that that I'm able to do these things, but I'm saying
right.
this is advice I've been given that
That you
that I
hold on
hold on
dearly.
to in an effort to achieve these things. Um,
I like that you are enough. I've heard that quite a bit here on the podcast, and I always ask the follow up saying, when were there times that you didn't feel like you were enough?
how old am I? 66? Okay.
Okay.
So, it's a lifetime, right? In big ways and small. Um, yeah, I mean um I think we all we all have our battle scars, our
Sure.
traumas, our childhood experiences. Some of them are great, some of them not so great, and so on. And we carry all this baggage with us as we grow and grow, right? And
Sure.
unless we do the work to understand it, then it sort of controls us. It determines how we're responding to things and whatnot.
Sure.
So, um, so it is work to silence those voices. And in fact, um, I've had to do this for myself, and I am very quick to do it with my students, which is as soon as they apologize, as soon as they start to demean themselves, as soon as they're like, whatever, I'm like, time out. No, 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 no self-hatred, no bad talk against yourself. And
Right.
um, uh, let me just close that out. Um, it's hard to stop the mind, the thinking. The first step is if you can zip the lip so that it doesn't come out, right? And then after time, maybe you can get to a place of not thinking it too.
Right.
Um, but it's
Right.
hard. It's hard for a lot of people, you know.
Yeah, because it's natural to speak what's on your mind. It's natural to have those thoughts, sometimes that are demeaning for yourself or be melancholy as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because you live life and you go through a series of emotions, right?
Right.
So I totally understand that. And I want to play an interactive game with you called This or That. And I normally typically do this with every guest that I have here on the Work Hard, Play Harder podcast. You have given terrific answers to the questions that I have here. And basically, what this interactive game is that I throw out some things at you, and
Hmm.
you get to choose this or that.
Great.
Okay, so Debbie, are you ready?
I am ready,
Okay, here we
Chris.
go.
Okay.
So the first one is going to be, which restaurant would you choose to go to? Popeyes or KFC?
KFC.
I
I
love it.
like their
Okay.
coleslaw.
Okay. Fun fact, never had coleslaw in my life.
Oh, then you
Yeah.
don't know what you're missing.
You know what? And that's what I've been told. I've been told. So maybe I'll be bold one of these days and try it for sure.
Okay.
But yeah, I never had it. When it comes to a chicken wing, which flavor would you rather have on it? Barbecue or lemon pepper? No chicken wings?
No chicken wings.
Wow.
It's breast meat or yeah, that's it.
So I'm a white meat person too. So
Yeah.
yes, I'm totally with you.
Okay.
It's awesome to find that. You rarely find that. But yeah, I'm a white meat person now more than anything. So yeah, only chicken I eat now is white meat for sure. Okay, I'm with you on that. Pick between these. Are you a dessert person? Let me ask you first. Do you like desserts?
Do you need to ask me?
Well,
You know
listen.
how I
Hey,
start my day.
well, listen. Cookies is one thing, but you made that cookies may be the only thing that you like.
Oh, okay. No, no. I can't. Once I start eating candy corn, I can't stop. Um, so
Okay,
Halloween is a dangerous time of year for me.
okay.
But um, after
So,
I've
so
had a full meal, I'm not
yeah.
interested in dessert. I'll save
Okay.
it for breakfast.
Okay. So I'm gonna give you four categories, Debbie. And
Okay.
what you're gonna do is choose one of these categories that you would never eat again. Okay. So here we go. The first one is cookies. So that's any type of cookie. The second one is ice cream. The third one is candy. The last one is cakes/pies. Which one are you getting rid of?
I could get rid of candy.
Wow. Okay. Okay. Now, you told me that your cookies that you like to eat, you said your favorite ice cream is mint chocolate, if I'm not
Mhm.
mistaken. What is your favorite cake/pie?
Well, my daughter has become a phenomenal baker, and for my birthday, she makes me a German chocolate cake that is to die for.
That's my mother's favorite cake, German chocolate. She loves German chocolate cake. No question about that.
The pecan, the coconut, the caramel. Yeah, the chocolate. Yeah.
I told her she's crazy. I'm like, there's just no way. There's no way that could be the favorite cake. She's like, what do you like, baby? I was like, just give me some chocolate or vanilla and put some sprinkles on it. I'm good with that. I'm totally good with that. Or
Well,
ice cream cake.
when you when you come to New York City, check out Billy's Bakery
Okay.
and their carrot cake, out of this world.
Now you're talking. Now you're talking. Okay. Billy's Bakery. Got you.
Billy's
Say less.
Bakery.
All right. This next question is very similar to the last one. Are you a potato chip person?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to name four brands.
Okay.
You got to choose one of these brands that you would never eat again. Okay. So here we go. The first brand is Doritos. The second brand is Lay's. The third brand is Ruffles. The last brand is Pringles. Which one will you get rid of that you would never eat again?
Pringles. Pringles.
You was fast on that one. Wow. Okay. Okay. What's your favorite potato chip?
And Utz or whatever that brand is, UTZ. Yeah. Thank you. No, thank you. What's my favorite potato chip? I like the mesquite barbecue.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I like that. Beef barbecue is pretty good. Pretty good. I like that. Okay. See, we got a lot of similar tastes when it comes to food. I like that. I like that, Debbie. All right. Next one for the this or that. If there was a sport on TV, which sport are you watching on TV? Football or basketball?
Basketball.
Okay. If there was a sport that you can play out of these two, which one would you play? Bowling or badminton?
Badminton.
I like that. I like that. These next four, which will end this or that, are music concerts that you rather attend. So here we go. I'm going to throw out a couple groups. You go ahead and tell me which one. Which group would you rather go see in concert? Would you rather see the Eagles or would you rather see the Police?
The Police.
Sting was always good. He's one of my favorites. Yeah, I love that. Okay. Which concert would you rather go to? Would you rather see Whitney Houston or
I
Janet
did.
Jackson?
I did see Whitney when she was really young.
Mm,
Yeah, in a club in New York. Her mom, Cece, I think it was her mom's name,
yeah,
was performing, and then she said, "I'm going to bring out my daughter and my son." Um, so Whitney Houston or Janet Jackson.
yeah.
I mean, uh, well, Whitney.
Okay, okay. I like that. I like that. Now, next question is these two. I believe both of these women are from New York. Which artist would you rather see in person, Mariah Carey or Mary J. Blige?
Mary J. Blige. Yeah,
Okay, you was definitive on that
yeah,
one. All
yeah,
right,
yeah, yeah,
I like
yeah.
that. I like that. Okay,
Mariah Carey doesn't do it for me. Yeah, but yeah.
got you, got you. Okay, last one for the this or that. Which hip hop artist would you rather see? Would you rather
Jay-Z.
see? Oh, oh, I was gonna say that too. I was gonna say Jay Z or LL Cool J, but you said Jay Z.
And you know
Okay,
what? And I've met LL Cool J. He
did
was
you?
he was on a flight that we were on, and we were at the carousel waiting for our luggage, and he was so nice. He was just really, really cool and you know. But yeah, Jay-Z.
Now, what's your favorite Jay Z song? Because Debbie, that threw me for a loop. I didn't think you would know something about Jay Z. I did not.
See, you see, you don't know me. You don't know me.
You are absolutely right. And
You
listen, I
know.
plan on too now. I plan on getting to know you now. Okay, so please stay in touch
So,
for sure.
is American Boy Jay-Z?
American Boy, I think that's Estelle.
Estelle. Okay. Then New York, the one with
Alicia Keys.
Alicia Keys, right?
Okay.
But
Okay.
that's just one. I mean, there are so many. Yeah, so many. Yeah.
Absolutely. One of my favorite songs is A Star is Born, which is on that same album, which you were talking about, which that's Jay-Z's third Blueprint album. It's called The Star is Born. Him and J. Cole, which Jay-Z is one of my favorite rappers, probably top five. But the fact that you said Jay-Z, Debbie, you have a place in my heart. So that's no
Okay.
doubt.
I went to see his show at the Brooklyn Library. It was amazing. Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah.
okay.
Really, really amazing. Um, what was I going to say to you?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I love me some Jay-Z. I love me Jigga, no doubt about it. You did pretty good on this or that. You were very definitive. You wasn't a lot of people that do this or that are on the fence with a lot of these questions because they're like, oh, I don't know which one to choose. You wasn't like that. You were decisive, and I love that. I love that about you for sure. Um, is there anything else that you would like to add about yourself, avoid the voiceover job in general, or anything at all before we conclude? This has been a terrific conversation with you, Debbie.
It has been a wonderful conversation. Um, yeah, people can reach out to me. Come visit my website, debbieirwin.com.
As they should. They should definitely visit your website, subscribe to your YouTube channel, as you have a YouTube channel as well, as I've subscribed to it. And then follow you on the various social media platforms, right? You have LinkedIn, you have Instagram, and you
Hmm.
can shout those out right now if you want to as well.
Yeah. So it's basically my name and VO, so Debbie Irwin VO. And I have in addition to my Instagram page, I have a series called Medical Word of the Day. And I present a word and define it and talk about it, and it gets some really interesting traction. So that's my Medical Word of the Day series on Insta, and I recently started a workshop called MMWD, Medical Mondays with Debbie, and that's for people, up to 20 people to come in, and I send out scripts, and we work on scripts and et cetera, et cetera. So, yeah.
Well, listen, once I'm in New York, and I will definitely be back in the city. I'm not sure how close you are to the actual New York City, but I would definitely have to hit you up because I
Please
definitely want
do.
to.
I'll come down. I'll come down to the city so we can have coffee together or a drink or whatever it is that you do.
Yeah, that'd be amazing. I think you're absolutely amazing. I think just your range, your perspective has been absolutely awesome. And I enjoy talking to you, and I look forward to talking to you even more. Thank you again for coming on to my podcast, Work Hard, Play Harder. I want you to enjoy your Friday and also enjoy the rest of your weekend. And you and I, Debbie, will definitely be in touch.
Excellent. I look forward to it, Chris. This has been a pleasure. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Bye.